Uh, First, good evening to all the participants, and I welcome you all to IEEE WIE Virtual Talk Series 2020. So, before we start with this series, I would like to briefly explain about what is IEEE WIE. So, WIE is basically Women in Engineering Group of IEEE and is the largest global leaders community of having more than 20,000 members, including men and women both, which are basically promoting women in science and women in technology. So, based on this community is spread over 100 countries, and we have around 46% members from Asia Pacific region. And in this region, India also comes. So, we all proudly can say that we are actually promoting women in science, technology, but still, we require more efforts from each one of us so that we can promote women in technology in engineering fields such that they can choose their careers independently and based on their interests. So basically, as we see around, so we have like from code breakers to nanotechnologists to biologists to doctors to AI leaders. We see that women have their footprints everywhere and they have broken barriers to this community, to the society, and they have set up the stage for all of us. So why not take up this like science and engineering as a basis, and we women can excel. And all the men who have joined these webinar series, I thank you all also, so that because we appreciate your efforts and your interest. Because knowingly that these series are for women in STEM, still you all have joined us to promote science and technology, like women in science and technology. So I thank everyone. And based on this, to give you a crisp of all these series, why we are doing it is first is knowledge sharing. Second, we are again promoting women in science. Third, we are basically enhancing networking. And fourth, we are having a vision to build up a vibrant community in which both men and women can collectively put their efforts to promote women in science and technology. So based on this, we have 5-day series in which we have 5 women speakers from different parts of the country, and they all will be sharing their views, their interest, and several opportunities for women in STEM. So today we have with us Ms. Chavi, who is currently pursuing PhD at IIT Roorkee, and she has done her MTech from Punjab University and her BTech from Chandigarh. And she has an experience of assistant in teaching also as an assistant professor. And with all this, I welcome Ms. Chavi for her talk today. Yeah, Chavi ma'am, now over to you.
Thank you, Anupama, for the introduction. And good evening, everyone. I hope you all are doing well and taking good care of yourself and loved ones. And shall we begin?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, we can go ahead.
Okay. In today's section, we will going to discuss about the women in science and engineering. Before starting with my presentation, I would like to give a quick glance about my presentation. I just have divided my entire talk into 4 sections. Section 1 and 2 will going to be discussed about the women empowerment and the related facts that are being present in the society and the status of the females uh, in the sciences. They are whether they are working or not. And section 3 and 4 will going to have a thorough discussion about the fellowship schemes available for all of us, not only for the women but also for the rest of open for all too. So can you please change the slide? Hello, Rishabh.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, every time when you need to change the slide, you can say next, then Rishabh will proceed. Okay?
Okay, okay, okay,
Okay.
okay. Women empowerment, this is the term which we usually used to heard, and whenever we used to google this term, an n number of different definitions used to get flashed up on our screen. But on the real grounds, what actually this term means for women empowerment, what does actually reflects the as per me, the women actually get empowered only if uh, the girl is being feasted with these 5 points. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible. I request
Okay,
all
can I
the
start it?
participants to kindly mute yourself. All the participants, please mute yourself. Yes, ma'am, you're audible. Go ahead.
Okay. As per me, the real empowerment comes only if a girl is being um given these 5 feet in her hand, then only she will be called as a real empowered woman. That is the sense of the self worth. It used to come only if the gender equality and decision making power is being given to her by the society and the family also. Once it is being given to her, the self worth sense is already being going to get enhanced into her, and that will going to act as a motivational power for her to get an access to the resources and the opportunities floating all around of her, or in the society also she is be able to get then access to them. And once she is being able to come to the opportunities, she will just come to know about the opportunities. She definitely going to open the gateway for the employment too. And once the family is going to support her by giving the freedom of the movement, I think nobody can stop her to be a successful, a leading woman in her career. Next. In the previous slide, what I just have tried to showcase is the ideal conditions which we all need for the uh, practical ground of the women empowerment. But the fact and the picture is a bit more different from the ideal scenarios. So in this upcoming slide, this is the section number 1 and 2. So I just have tried to focus or try to summarize all the facts available, whether it is about the access to the internet, gender inequality, ICT, or the excuse me, patents, or the inventions, or about the venture capital. Next. Next.
Hello, Chavi, I think we lost your audio.
Hello.
Hello? Yeah.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So,
Rishabh,
shall
please
we
change the
change this?
slide.
Yeah.
The fact number 1 is the access to internet. Uh, As per the report published by ITU publishers in the year of 2019, they are clearly showing the facts and figures that 48% of the women worldwide are having the access to the internet, uh, and that is providing a gender gap of 17%. See, if we are talking about the era of digital society, if, i- in which everything is present on the internet, whether it is about the studies, whether it is about the business, whether it is of anything else. So even in this era also, the women are getting lesser access, 17% lesser access to the internet. So we can ourselves can imagine where we are actually standing. And if we are talking about the India, this ratio is 60 to 40%, where 60 is to 40. That is 40% of the women are getting the um, access to the internet. And if we are talking about the rural areas also, only 27% of the females are having the ownership for their mobile. This is the fact which actually used to give a different kind of a feeling, but yes, these are the truth. Next, please. Gender inequality. This is the topic which we actually used to encounter in day to day life. Like, uh, if we are talking about the employment, whether it is about the family violence, whether it is about the leadership, anything, we used to face such kind of gender inequality. If we are talking about the employment, it is a well known fact and accepted worldwide that 57% of the employed women are getting lesser wages as compared to the men. And if we are talking about the discrimination, yes, there exists a discrimination uh, during before marriage as well, after marriage also. If we are talking about the married female professionals, and if they are having the discrimination, and if she got a birth to a child, then also then that discrimination going to be very huge. She has to face it on the day to day basis, because everybody has a mindset that girl can never focus when they are having a responsibility of a family and a child and all. And if we are talking about the leadership, in this slide, this is showing ASX 200, that is basically the Austrian board, in which 21.7% of the females are on the board. But I'm talking about the India. If I'm talking about the Lok Sabha, only 14.4% of the females are the member of Lok Sabha. We have to check it on it that where we are actually standing. Next, please. Yeah, next is the ICT development. ICT stands for Information and Communication Technology. What does actually mean? This is basically a platform where we used to design the different kind of software, IT-based software, communication-based softwares, which this is the bitter truth that most of the technologies are being designed by the men only. And as we have already discussed about the facts about internet and the mobile phones in the previous section, it is also being shown here that 20% lesser women are getting the access to the mobile phones, and 200 million women are getting the access to the internet. Next, please. Yeah, this is a very good paper published by Juming Huang in the year of 2020. The author has tried to picturize each and everything in a very beautiful manner, that in the picture A, he has tried to show that authors, female authors, that has been marked in orange color, and male are in the blue. So we can see that in the year of 1955, only 12% of the active female authors are present, and which will be increased to 35% by the year of 2005. And if we are taking the increase in this percentage, we will be able to visualize where females are lying. That means females are getting actively participated into it, but not to that extent that we can compare the contribution of a female in the field of the science and the patency. In the picture B, the author has clearly shown the participation of the females in the field of mathematics, physics, computer science, and engineering, in which the participation is approximately only 15%. And if we are talking about the political sciences and psychology, the participation approximately 33%. That means we can conclude that the participation of the women in the field of STEMM is far much lower. And the figure C, the author has tried to picturize the complete contribution of the female country wise, in which we can see that India, if we are talking about only India, then approximately 30% of the uh, female scientists are present here. So we need to fill this gap. And in the figure D, that is a very beautiful picture actually, that is showing everything, in which the author has taken the career length of 11 years, and the dotted dots might be visible on your screen. That is for the publication by a female authors, and the bars are being represented for the male authors. So we can clearly see where we are lying, where we are actually existing. If we are talking about the average of the publications, then during their career, a male researcher used to publish approximately 11.5 paper during their entire career. Career length is being taken as 11 years. And if we are talking about the female on an average worldwide, then they are approximately 9.6 only. And if we are talking about the productivity of the papers, their gender gap is approximately 27%. You can actually visualize where we are actually lagging. Women have no uh, women are neither being I don't know what to say about it, that we are capable enough even afterwards. We are, if we are not being able to give the productivity comparable to the men, there is actually a huge gap which we need to cover it up. Next, please. This is a bar graph or the data which is being published in the OECD 2018 document. in which the author has tried to summarize the entire collaboration, international collaboration that are being made for the patency. All those inventions that were going to be the patent. If we are talking about the India, you can clearly see where we are actually lying. Uh, Approximately 50% are the collaboration are only with the men, and if we are talking about the female scientists, that is less than 40%, approximately
Huh?
33% approximately. Next, please. Okay, next, this is the data which I just want to summarize once for all, what we have discussed. If we are talking about the team, because if we are talking about the patent can might be with the individual one too, but most of the patents are in the groups or the teams. If we are talking about the team having all the male members, that is having 25%. If we are talking about the individual man, that is 43%. If we are talking about a mixed team refers to a team containing at least one female scientist with it, that is containing only 25%. If we are talking about individual female, that is having only 6%. And the worst scenario is if we are talking about all female team, that is approximately negligible, that is only 0.3%. The author has concluded this reason might be because of the self uh, regression between the female working as a team. I don't know how much it was true or not, but this is the only fact that the author has uh, shown in his publication or the document I just have taken this figures from. Next, please. Okay, this is the vision of the author that due to the steady rate of the increase by the year of 2017, the involvement of the patent filing of a women is approximately 12.7% worldwide. So this is the vision of the author that might be by 2070 we will be able to touch this gender parity line, and this can't be possible if we all women come together to make this figure possible, practically possible. Next, please. Okay. Next fact is for the venture capitals and the startup activities. This is a very important topic to be considered, that if a female dream to start her own business as an entrepreneur, then the most or the biggest hurdle is for the venture capital development or raising a capital for the business. So if we are talking about that on the basis of the economy, if we are seeing the female founders for the startup ventures, if we are talking about the India, we can see that it is less than 10%. If we are talking about, and uh, we need to see it. If we are talking about the next, please change the slide. Next. Yeah. Okay. Kindly compare previous slide and this one. In this, that graph is on the basis of the economy, and this graph is basis on the sector. I just have marked the STM sectors in red circles. What they are actually showing is uh, the participation of the female entrepreneurs in the respective field. If we are being able to see, then consumer goods, that is containing the highest percentage, that is approximately um, 20 29 to 29% approximately. And if we are talking about the biotechnology or the data analysis or about the information technology or about the gaming or energy sector, they are lying less than or approximately between 10 to 15%. So it is might be because the exposure of the female to the STEM. I just want to conclude in my next slide. So kindly, please, next. Okay. In this graph, on the left side, you can see the male-led startup businesses are much more successful than that of the female-led businesses. What could be the possible reasons behind it? That could be lack of the social networks, might be because for generation of the venture capital, you need to be socialized. So that only being able to generate a good amount of a capital and more exposure to the skill-oriented trainings. So in this slide, I just wanted to conclude what I just have given you all about the facts, and in my previous discussion, the possible reason for the lack or the gap could be due to the wide gender gap in the STEM. STEM basically stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Because as we all know that girls from 10th to 12th standard, they used to opt for the sciences, but after 12th they won't take science as a career. They used to get drop, or they used to get into the courses like arts, political sciences, and all. Next, the risk taking attitude. We all know that females might not take the risk after, especially after a failure. They don't want to take another risk. That could be the reason because of the unsuccessful or might be lesser successful ventures or the startups for the businesses. And again, the social network is the biggest issue. Next is the exposure to the skill oriented trainings. Okay, this is the section 2 in which I just wanted to showcase the current scenario of the females in the field of sciences. In this slide, I just have tried to showcase all the distribution based on the discipline. This is basically based on the Niti Aayog report published in the year of 2020, in which they just have summarized all the women scientists working in the respective streams. So we can see that the participation is lesser in earth sciences, medicines, mathematics. You can see that in even in the physical and the allied sciences too, that is only 99. These are the figures uh, based on 30% of the female working as compared to the male ratio. This is the figure out of it. Next, please. Okay. In this figure, basically all the employed or the working women in the institutions that are being recognized or the government institutions, the job type could be anything, could be contractual basis or on the permanent basis. These are the ratios which are showing in which sector the female are working and in what ratio. Next, please. Okay, I just want to correlate the previous slide with this data. If we are talking about the distribution, you can take any of the institution presented in my previous slide, any of the institution. If we are distributed on the basis of the age, we can come to know that age group lying between 21 or you can say from 21 to 41. I'm just taking this part. We can see that the number of participants are more, and if they just have crossed the age of 46, they are in the position of the maximum number, that is the 230. We can come what we I just want to conclude it, the people from the age group of 21 to let us say 36 might be lying in the experience less than 3 years or might be less than 6 years. So that ratio is taking a huge portion of the female contents. So, and these are the figures which we have to really taking care of so that we can establish the gender ratio in the field of sciences and as a research career. So if we are taking the slab of the less than 6 years of experience, including 6 years and 3 years, the 93% of the dropout are coming out of these fields only, and 7% are in the age group of 46 to 51. What does actually mean? It means that due to some of the reasons I will going to showcase in my next slide, so there might be n number of reasons due to which a female used to drop this career. They start working as a research or in the sciences, but due to n number of reasons they used to drop it out. That ratio is 93%, which is a really worrying figure. Next, please. What could be the possible reason for the dropouts? That could be lack of fellowships, or they might not have prepared for the entrance examination. This is the biggest factor actually, which we all might be all used to come across. We won't have prepared much for the entrance exams. Next is the family care. Next could be the absence of the higher education. That could be the eligibility criteria. That could be the health concern, or the financial problems, or family objection could be there. And marriage, this is the biggest hurdle actually, and might be other reasons too. And in the figures I just have represented in the right hand side, these are the figures which shows the much stronger women which used to just come out of these restrictions or the hurdles. Then they used to rejoin or come back to their career because they love science and research, or they could love to be in the academic careers, or could be wanted to be a supportive support for their spouse, or there could be anything. These basically what I just wanted to showcase with this my slide is that hurdles are everywhere. No one is having the life without hurdles, but the winner is the only one who used to come out of this. Next, please. There is a very beautiful line quoted by the Marie Curie, that life is not easy for any of us, but what is that? We must have perseverance and above all confidence in ourselves. We must believe that we are gifted for something and that this thing must be attained. If we are being able to understand these lines, then only we will might be in future could be a part of the motivational icons. Next, please. In this slide, not all, but some of the iconic figures are which are being the most renowned faces of India as a scientist. I just have tried to showcase them. Not all. I'm not being able to include all, but some of them. First is the Professor Gagandeep Kang. She don't need any kind of introduction. Her name is her introduction only. She is the first woman fellow which has been awarded with the prestigious honorable award of Fellow of Royal Science, and she is the Executive Director at the Translational Health and Science Technology Institution, Faridabad. And she is also a chairperson of WHO Southeast Asia's Immunization Technical Advisory Group. Next is the Chandrima Saha. Chandrima Saha is a biologist and she is the first woman president of Indian National Science Academy, that is INSA. She is the first one who is being able to grab this position. Next is the Dr. Tessie Thomas. You might know her because she is the woman behind the Agni 4 missile prepared by the DRDO, and she is also being named as Missile Woman of India. Next is Kamakshi Shiv Ramakrishnan. She is the onboard of NASA New Horizon mission, which is probing the Pluto, which is the farthest project of the NASA, and her role is the building the algorithms for the chip they use to gather the information. Next is the Ritu Kharidhar and the Murthaya Vanitha. These two women also, they don't need any kind of introduction because these are the two project directors which are being uh, appointed for the project we all know about is the Chandrayaan 2. And Ritu Kharidwal has been designated as the Rocket Woman of India. Next is the Mangala Mani. Mangala Mani, she is the first ever female scientist who have spent more than a year on the Antarctica icy land, in which she gathered so many of information about the snowfall and all, and she is known as the polar woman of ISRO. These are some of the faces which, if we have come across about their autobiography, life for any one of them is never easy, but they just due to their determination, they are at this position where they are known by their name and not by their spouse. Next, please. Okay, now we are at the section 3 of my presentation. This is a very important part, so please kindly pay more attention on to it, because this might be a gateway for many of us, so to know about the fellowship which are actually being provided by the government of India for us. This section will going to include undergraduate, postgraduate, doctorate and postdoctorate fellowships. Next, please. First, this is the most prestigious fellowship provided by the Department of Science and Technology and Department of Biotechnology for the women scientists. This is the specially designed program for the unemployed women having a career break, and they are willing to come back in the field of research, which used to provide a very beautiful amount of a fellowship along with the contingency for 3 to 5 years, and the amount is really good. Next, please. First is the DST Women Fellowship Scheme. This fellowship scheme is being divided into 3 categories, that is WOS, A, B, and C. WOS stands for Women Scheme, Women Scientist Scheme. A and B. These are the two more or less similar, but the difference come in the field they basically deals in. WSA is designed for the basic and the applied sciences, and WSB is being designed for S&T, stands for science and technology interventions for social benefits. The eligibility criteria is same for all the three, that is MSc, MPhil, MTech, and PhDs. Fellowship amount for WSA and B lies from 30,000 to 55,000. That is, MSc and MPhil students will going to get 30,000 per month plus HRA. MTech students will going to get 40,000, and PhD students will going to get 50,000 per month. And the project cost, because they used to invite the project upon which they used to provide this contingency or the fellowship. So the project cost, each project used to cost from 30,000, 20,000 to 30,000. 20,000, sorry, 20 lakhs is for MSc, MPhil, and MTech students, and 30 lakh project cost will be for PhD students. And the duration is same for the 3 years, and the maximum age limit is of 57 years. And if we are talking about the WST, it is specially designed for the entrepreneurs, the women who are willing to start their own business. So it used to provide the training as well as the funds. Again, eligibility is the same, and the fellowship amount is from 25,000 to 35,000 per month, and the duration is again same, 3 years, and the age limit is for the 45 years. I just request all the women kindly go through these fellowships once, so you might get better picture about it. I'm just trying to summarize because I'm not having that much of time to discuss each and everything in detail, so I just have tried to give a glance of it. Next, please. Next is the DBT fellowship, the DBT Women Scientist Scheme. This is, they used to mimic them as BioCare. This fellowship is eligibility criteria has MTech, MD, PhD in any branch of life sciences or allied sciences. The fellowship amount is 50,000 to 60,000 per month. Along with that, they are having the additional incentives of 10,000 per month for the employed scientists. Employed scientists here refer to the scientists who are already employed, or the unemployed scientists got the permanent position in the respective department because of this fellowship. They used to get this 10,000 incentive additionally. The project cost they used to sponsor is for the 50 lakhs, and the duration is from 3 to 5 years. That depend upon the project type you are writing, and the age limit is 55 years. Next, please. Now, this fellowship scheme is for the PhD and the postdocs. Please pay attention to it. It might be helpful for you for your future. Next, please. There is a fellowship named WISTEM, refers to Women in STMM. This is basically Indo-US fellowship. This is a short-term fellowship for but this is a very prestigious one. Not all the female or all the applicants can get this fellowship. The proposed area, they used to invite proposal from agricultural, atmospheric and earth sciences, chemical sciences, cognitive, computational sciences, engineering and technology, life sciences, mathematical, medical, and physical sciences. If you are eligible, please go through this fellowship too. This fellowship used to provide the support in the US dollar currency. The stipend is lying from 2,500 to 3,000 per month US dollars. The airfare they used to support is up to 2,500 US dollars. Health insurance up to 500 US dollars. Contingency additional from that the stipend, that is 1,000 US dollars, and the conference allowance. This is provided only for the postdoc students, not for the PhDs. Next, please. Okay, these are also some prestigious fellowships, but only for the postdocs. These are they are National Postdoctoral Fellowship and UGC Postdoctoral Fellowship. If we are talking about National Postdoctoral Fellowship, the eligibility is again PhD, MD, or MS degree. Even if you are in the submission phase, then also you can apply for this fellowship. The fellowship amount is 55,000 per month, and the grant is 2 lakhs per annum, and the duration is again 5 years, and the age limit is 35 years maximum age limit. If we are talking about the UGC postdoctoral fellowship, the PhD has to be completed, and the fellow or the applicant must be unemployed. This is the most important condition they are asking for the eligibility. Next is the fellowship amount might vary from 38,500 to 46,800 per month. The students who had just completed or submitted their PhD will be able to get the fellowship of 38,500 per month, and if they are already got the degree of the PhD, then they are eligible for the 46,800 per month along with the HRA. Again, duration is 5 years and age limit is 35 years. Next, please. Now, we are at the section 4, but this is also very important and open for all. This is not confined. The previous fellowship which we have discussed is basically specially designed only for the women, but this one is open for all. Women and male, female, anybody can apply for them. And please go through these fellowships at least once. You might be able to get a clear picture about it, whether you are eligible or not. Next, please. Okay. Initially, I just wanted to show some of the internship programs. These are for the students which are in their bachelor's or master degree. They must not be in their first year, and they must not be about to complete within this year, or basically they must be passed out after 2020, August after 2020, they are being eligible. So there are basically 3 types of visiting programs. This visiting programs used to give a platform for all the students to get an exposure to the US based reputational institutions, to work with them and understand what research is all about, so that you can get a clear picture about what in future you want to do, and this will going to boost your resume as well, to get better chances to get placed. If we are talking about the biotechnology and the allied sciences, the fellowship is named as the Khurana program for the scholars. This internship program duration is 10 to 12 weeks, or you can say it is just for the summer training program. You can go for every year, you can go for it. And next is the SN Booth Scholar program. This is for the science, engineering, and mathematics students, and the internship is for the 8 weeks. And I just request all the science and engineering BTech and MTech students kindly go through these fellowships or the visitation program. You will definitely going to get a very good network from the abroad for the collaborations and for future also. If we are talking about the students for the electrical engineering, electronics and instrumentation, computer science, computational science and engineering, or computer engineering students, they must also go for this fellowship. This fellowship is named as Vetterby. This is basically the name of the US institution which used to provide the collaboration or the exchange program for the students. All these three exchange programs are under the US Indo-US Federation, which used to provide you a platform to work and explore in the field of the research. Next, please. One thing before starting this slide, I just wanted to say that bachelor's and master's students does not only include the BTech, MTech, they also include BSc and MSc students too. BSc, MSc, BTech and MTech students are eligible for the visitation program I just have discussed in the previous slide. Next, these are some other fellowship, basically visitation programs which are being available again under the Indo-US Federation only. These are for the PhD students and the postdoc. This first one is the Bhaskara Advanced Solar Energy Fellowship Program. This is for the duration of the 3 to 12 months. This is all these 6 fellowships are only one-time fellowships, and this eligibility is student has to be enrolled in the PhD or they have to complete it. So the students having the research field in the field of the solar energy based anything, whether it is about the generation, whether it's about the PV panels or it is about the EV, they can go for this. Next is the bioengineering awards. This is again the PhD has to be enrolled or completed, and the area is biofuels or related fields. Means if we are talking about the renewable energy or the fuels, whether it is biodiesel or anything else, then you can apply for this one. Next is for the building energy efficiency. Again, the eligibility is for the PhDs, MTech, Masters in Architecture and architecture students. This area is for the building energy efficiency, built environment or habitat engineering efficiency. Again, this is for the short term, that is for the 3 to 6 months only. Next is the one of the most prestigious fellowship, that is WARI. This is for the Water Advanced Research and Innovation Fellowship Program. Again, you have to be enrolled in the PhD, but not in the first year. Next area is science, water sciences and engineering. Duration is again 3 to 6 years. Next is for the genome engineering and editing technology. This is for the discipline of the biotechnology, and STMM, WISTEM, that I have already discussed in my previous slide. So I just want to conclude with this respective presentation. This respective slide is that all these fellowships provide you a beautiful and working environment or a platform to explore your career or your ideas or your enhancing your skills in towards your field, so that you can perform better research towards it. Next, please. This one is the highly paid and the most prestigious fellowship of India, that is Prime Minister Research Fellowship Scheme. This fellowship avail only 100 students per year, or basically the year of the called application. So PMRF fellowship basically is provided to the students who have completed their MTech and willing to join their PhDs in the institutes of IITs, IISCs and all. So the eligibility criteria is MTech, integrated MTech, MSc or BTech. BTech mandatory from IIT or IISc because it enables them to get admission directly into the PhD program in spite of getting the admission into the MTech. Next, fellowship amount is the highest one, that is 70,000 to 80,000 per month along with the HRA, and the duration is for the 4 years, and the link for this fellowship is open twice a year, that is in the May and in the December. But due to lockdown this year, currently it is not being announced for the date, and the link is cmrf.in. I just request all my audience, it's my humble request, kindly go through this fellowship program once, so that you will be able to get a clear picture about it. Next is the Fulbright Nehru Doctoral Fellowship. This is a short-term program which is being given to the PhD enrolled students, and this fellowship used to give a chance to work with the US based institute. You can choose any of them of your own choice, and you can get a collaboration with them, and you can go there and work and understand, and each and everything is been completely covered within this fellowship amount. So you can go for this one too. Next, please. Okay, I'm on my last slide of my
Chavi
presentation.
ma'am,
Yes.
yeah, sorry to interrupt. Chavi ma'am, sorry to interrupt. I request
Yes.
Jennifer to kindly mute yourself. Jennifer, your mic is on. Yeah, thank you. Yes.
Okay, I'm on the last slide of my presentation today. So this is one is the last but not the least. This is basically showing, basically it is just a summary of all the fellowships available for the 12th pass out students. This is very important for them, those who are willing to join the higher studies in the field of sciences, mathematics, medicine, anything. They can apply for these. The fellowship DRDO scholarship scheme for the girls, in which JE or GATE score is mandatory. JE for the undergraduate students, and GATE is for the postgraduate students. They will going to get an amount of 1.20 lakh per annum for the UGs, and the postgraduate will going to get 1.86 lakh per annum as the scholarship amount for their respective courses, and the applications are already open. Next is the AICTE Pragati Scholarship Program. This is again for the 12th pass and willing to join diploma, that is after 10th, or any degree of excuse me, any degree of engineering, whether it is BSc or engineering, anything. You could apply for this, and the last date is 31st of November 2020. Next is the L'Oreal India Scholarship 2020, or for young women in science. This is one of the most, I think, better to say is ki, very nice kind of a fellowship that I come across along all the fellowships, that it used to give a very beautiful platform for all the women. They have no criteria or a constraining factor of whether they belongs to any kind of a category. They are eligible to apply, and they used to provide 100% cover, whether it is about the tuition fees, whether about any other expenditure, semester wise they used to cover each and everything. So this is a very beautiful fellowship, and this year I think dates are not yet being out, so kindly go through this fellowship too. This is specially designed for STEM students. So please go through this one too. The 12th pass can, they have to be enrolled in the respective institution, and then they can go for this. Next is the SPI Youth India Fellowship Program. This is for all those students who have recently passed out and yet searching for a job, and they are not being able to get that. So they can apply for this one. In this, they will going to get a 15,000 per month as a fellowship amount, along with the incentives, and the applications are yet open. Next is the Lady Mehrabai D. Tata Educational Trust. This is for the students who are willing to pursue their post graduation studies abroad. They used to give a cover of 3 to 6 lakhs per annum. And next is the ONGC fellowship for girls, for the SC/ST category students. Girls, they can enroll for that. They can go for this one, and they have to be enrolled in a respective college for the respective program, whether they are in the UG program or the PG program. For example, if they are eligible and they are already being enrolled in for the BSc or BTech, they can apply, or they are MSc or MTech, they can also apply. So they are also ongoing. So you can visit that page, official page for the respective fellowship. Next, please. Thank you so much for your attention. Any question or queries?
Thank you, ma'am, for a wonderful session. And now I request all the participants, if they have any questions or queries, so the session is open. So you can unmute yourself and speak out your question.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Hi, ma'am. I'm Swati.
Yes.
Ma'am, I have a question regarding that PM Relief Fund Scholarship, PMRF.
Mhm.
Ma'am, like I'm MTech, so is it necessary that MTech should be from IIT or ISC?
No, that is not mandatory. You must have a clear-cut uh, proposal of your research. That means you must have a clear idea of what you want to work with. They will
Yes.
going to ask only for a small proposal or a concept note for your respective research idea. That is the only thing you need to give them, and on the behalf of the idea you are putting them, and depending upon the after the evaluation whether it is feasible or not, they will going to shortlist you whether the eligibility or calling for that might be through interviews or through the written exam or as well,
Fine.
depending upon the number of applications. You can go for this one, but
And ma'am,
you must have a right, you must write a beautiful concept note that must be to the point.
that is fine, ma'am. But according to eligibility, I am seeing that it is necessary that your graduation should be from IIT or ISC.
To
Is
be
it?
frank, I just have applied last year, but I was being able to put my application, but many things I was not being shortlisted for that.
Sorry for interrupting. Sorry for interrupting. Actually, there are two PMRF.
Please mute yourself.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, good evening, ma'am. This is Sridevi from Odisha. Actually, my query is that I have enrolled in PhD. So I have seen this duration of the duration of the project should be 3 to 6 months.
Mhm.
I want to clarify that whatever proposal we are giving, we have to complete that project within 3 to 6 months. Hello.
Please repeat which fellowship you are
It is
inquiring about.
Fulbright Fellowship, Fulbright Nehru Doctoral
Fulbright
Fellowship.
No. Actually, that duration is the duration of stay at that respective institution. That is for 3 to 6 months. You can reside at the US or the institution you are want to work with, and you must not be in the first year of your enrollment of the PhD, and you must
Okay.
not be at the submission phase. Rest you are
Okay,
eligible for
fine.
that.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, hi, ma'am. Ma'am, I had a query that if somebody had passed their MSc like in 2010 and have some industrial experience of around 10 years, so are they eligible for any kind of fellowship if they are
Yes, you can go
having a
for
break
that.
of for
Yes.
which scholarship, ma'am?
You have already completed your PhD, right?
No, actually, I have completed my MSc in 2010, and after that, I have 10 years of industrial experience. And
In
right now,
MSc in which field?
2010 in MSc Electronics,
No, not the MSc in electronics. You
electronics.
can go for the
Yeah,
DST
ma'am.
fellowship, and you can also eligible for the PMRF. PMRF fellowship is
Okay,
basically of two types. One is for
okay,
what is being provided by the uh, government, and second is through some kind of financing agencies like FICCI, that is Federation for something something, FICCI. You can search for that. And second institution is
okay,
CII. that are basically providing a platform. They are basically deployed from SERB to provide the PMRF
Okay.
fellowship, but the only condition is that you have to
Mm-hmm.
find your own industrial partner for that. You need a industrial partner
Okay.
that, as you have said that you have already 10 years of experience, that means definitely
Yeah.
you will have an idea as well as the contact from the industry. You can write
Yeah.
a mutual project with
Okay.
institution you are willing to work with, and the
Okay.
company you are want to get a financial 50% of your entire fellowship. Amount is the same,
Okay.
fellowship also is although the same, but the
Okay.
thing is that for the fellowship given by CIA and FICCI, they need a
Mm-hmm.
national partner from the uh, at the time of the enrollment, and the PMRF fellowship provided by the government. They used to give,
Mm-hmm.
they used to search the partner of their own after 6 months of the fellowship started, and after the
Okay.
review, they
They can
used to
register for the
point
workshops. Is it?
pick a company and then give it to the respective applicant.
Okay, but ma'am, is it necessary that you should be from IIT or IISc? Because I have passed from
That
Jamia
is not
Millia
mandatory.
Islamia University.
No. That is not
It doesn't
mandatory.
matter.
If we are going, no,
Okay.
if you are going for the PMRF fellowship through CII or
Yeah.
FICCI, and you have already enrolled
Mm-hmm.
in any of the institutions, it will be good if you
Okay.
will be able to go for the PhD in IITs or IISCs or NITs.
Mm-hmm.
That will going to give
Mm-hmm.
a better priority or preference to you. So you can get that
Okay.
fellowship. You can go for that.
Okay, okay. Actually, I have filled forms for these IITs and NIT, but due to this lockdown, nothing has happened till now. But I just wanted to ask that if I enroll for this PMRF, so I will be eligible for that and will be
Yes,
getting
you
the
are eligible.
okay fellowship after 6 months. You are saying?
No, not fellowship after 6 months. After the complete um, session of or the complete procedure of the whether it is about the criteria or all the criteria of the selection, and then you will start getting the fellowship within the 3 months of the
Okay,
application.
okay.
Then you have just get the acceptance or the confirmation of the fellowship. Then after 3 months, you will get your started to get your fellowship.
Okay. In that
And
case,
if
I need to
if
just enroll with some college
yes,
or
you have to be
university.
enrolled. Yes,
Okay,
because the minimum criteria
fine.
for CII and FICCI is that you must be within the 14 months of your registration with the
Mm,
respective institution you are going to
okay,
continue your PhD with. This is the only
okay.
restraining factor. And if once if for a case you are not being able to get this PMRF fellowship, you definitely going to
Mhm.
get the fellowship that is from the DST. DST Women's
Okay,
Scheme is, you can go for that.
okay, fine. And ma'am, as I have completed my MSc Electronics, so will I be eligible for the sciences in PhD sciences or PhD engineering
For both.
for both? Okay, fine, fine. Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks for the knowledge.
Chavi ma'am?
Yes, Anu?
Yeah. Ma'am, there are some questions in the chat box. Could you please have a look?
Yeah, sure. I'm looking for that.
Yeah, you can start taking up from Dr. Neha Dhiman ma'am.
Can you please read that question? I might not be able to see. Dr. Neha.
Shall I read out for you?
Yes, please. That will be
Yeah.
helpful for me.
So Dr. Neha Dhiman is asking for which factors are important while writing a research proposal for these fellowships.
Okay. The factors depend upon the area of your research, the type of the topic you want to pick for your career. For example, as I am from the electronics and communication background and then nanotechnology, definitely I will going to choose a topic which will going to be a correlation for the both. That is for the electronics and communication and the nanotechnology. So I will choose a field that will going to correlate both of them so that I can get a better chances to get that respective fellowship. I think I'll be able to answer that question.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have from Paris. that please mention some fellowship programs for diploma students.
I have already shown one, that is, I think I can name that too. Diploma students, that one is for the AICTE Pragati Fellowship Scheme. You can go for that.
Okay. Thank you. Then these about presentation. Okay. So any more questions from our audience? Yeah, there is one from Priyanka. Please guide some important fellowships for unemployed women who have completed their PhD and postdocs as well. Any other than DST Women and NPDF?
I don't have any idea about when you have already completed your postdoc, because all the fellowship schemes are available till the postdoc, and I'm sorry for that. I'm not having any idea about that after postdoc.
Okay, so there is one more question. Please suggest some fellowships for school students after 10th.
I have already showcased that in my last slide. I will request Rishabh to change that slide for that slide before the last one. That is tabular formulation for the fellowship names. All the schemes I just have tried to showcase here are for the 10th and 12th pass students.
Okay. Yeah, these one, ma'am.
Yes, this one.
Yeah, so Paris and Praveen sir, you can have a look at these fellowship programs, which could be needful for you. Yeah. So there is one more from Priya. Please share some fellowship programs for diploma mechatronics students.
Mechatronics
So
students.
again, Priya, you can go have a look at AICT Pragati Scholarship Program, and there you can find out some relevant streams. Like for mechatronics, maybe could be there be some fellowships, scholarships for this. Okay, any more questions before we end up today's session? Any feedbacks? Anything you would like to say? So, nothing to say. Okay, thank you. So, Rishabh, you can like stop sharing the screen. So, thank you all for your kind presence for attending this session. So, before
I
we
would
end our
like
session,
to,
let's have a group photograph with our speaker. So, I request everyone to kindly turn on your camera now. Let's make this moment memorable for us, for our speaker. So, I request everyone to turn on your camera and we can have a group photograph together. We'll wait for 1-2 minutes so that everyone can come in the picture.
Yes.
Yeah, Chari ma'am, you also please. Yeah. Thank you all, seriously. We are waiting. Please come on the screen.
Thank you all participants for joining us, and thanks to our speaker to give such an informative.
Yeah, we are waiting.
Yeah, it's a lovely talk.
We are waiting for everyone.
that's my pleasure. And I would like to thank all the IEEE team for giving me a platform for presenting my knowledge regarding this. And special thanks to Anupama and Rishabh too.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm still waiting. People, please come. Yeah, we are waiting.
Question. I think I would like to add to one question. After NPDF, what one can do? I think they can opt for another postdoctoral fellowship. It is allowed. Multiple postdoc.
Okay. Any more joining us? Okay, thank you then. Thank you for joining us today. And tomorrow we'll meet with another speaker. So thank you all. Thank you, Chavi ma'am. See you all tomorrow.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Bye.
Bhuma. Thank you, Rishabh. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Stay
Thank you.
safe.
Thank you for
Bye-bye.
joining
Bye-bye.
us.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Stay safe. Bye.